All right, guys, I wanted to just record a quick video to show you guys the ins and outs of Google Classroom so that I can clear up any questions and that you guys can make sure that your kiddo is getting all of their assignments completed. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to log into a student's Google Classroom just so you guys can see what it looks like. So once I share this screen with you guys, let's move this out of the way here. Okay. So when a student signs into Google Classroom, this is typically where they will start. It will show them all of the classes that they have been added to. So there's My Classroom. You might have a specialist in your kids' Google Classroom. We have the counselors are on here. We have art. We also have PE. We have music, STEM, and then the library. So any of my stuff obviously will be here. Now the stream is this very front page here when they first click into My Classroom, and this is typically where I will post any challenges. I might post a read aloud videos to help them understand a concept. The most recent one that I posted was 2 videos to help the kids understand what it means to understand an angle measure and what that looks like and how to use a protractor. So that's what the most recent one is here. Now, when it comes to the grades and the grade side of things, what you're gonna want your kiddo to do or make sure that they're doing is up here at the top, you have your stream, you have your classwork and people. Classwork is where you're gonna want your child or even you to go in and check and see, well, what do they have to do for that week? I always have the timelines at the top. So this week we were on week 2. And this timeline, what I try to do on here is make it as user-friendly as I could. Anything that's highlighted means that that's an activity that they need to turn in onto Google Classroom, okay? Now let's talk about turning in work and what that looks like. So once you've looked at the timeline, you'll go down to whatever week it is. This was week 2 that we're finishing up with. Now, the icons that are blue with the clipboard, that means that whatever that activity is, when you go in and you view the assignment, that means that there's something that they need to turn in. They need to turn in some sort of work. The really cool thing, though, that I want you guys to keep in mind when your child is doing anything on Google Classroom is that when I create the assignment, if there's an attachment, so like over here where it says your work and that it's been assigned, if it's a Google slide or a Google Doc, all that child or all your student or even you at some point, if you ever use Google Classroom, all you need to do is just type in your work. You don't need to push file save. You don't need to download and attach anything because once you have typed in on your copy of your Google Doc, whatever activity it is, it saves it, okay? So that part I feel like a lot of students are doing really well on. They're saving they're completing their activities on the Google Docs. Some of them are not realizing that they just type it in and it saves automatically, but the biggest thing that we need to make sure we do is this big old blue turn in button. Once you have finished everything in that assignment, you need to make sure that we are clicking that button so that I receive the work and I see that it's done. So yes, you've done it, but I cannot tell that you've done it unless it's been turned in. So we need to make sure that the kids are hitting that blue turn in button when they are finished. I try to make everything that is everything that the students have to do in a week, I make it due that Sunday. So all the stuff from this past week will be due on Sunday the 5th by 11:59 p.m. When it comes to making sure that you've turned in your work, if you actually scroll back to the very top of Google Classroom, right here, there's a View Your Work button. And here you can see all the work that has been assigned, okay? And then if it has checks, that means that I have seen it and I have returned it to the student. I've given it a grade or I've checked to make sure it's been completed and I've returned it back to the kiddo. If it says assigned, that means that it's been assigned to the kid, but it has not been submitted. Missing means that it had been assigned, but the due date had passed. But you should be able to actually go in and still be able to do that activity and mark it as done. And then that way I know you at least did it. So that's kind of the quick little ins and outs of what Google Classroom looks like and how it should look for the kids. Let me go ahead and stop sharing. All right, so that is the ins and outs of Google Classroom. Now, before I end this video, I did want to let you guys know about grades and what that's going to start looking like. So starting this week, we're assigning the kids 1 to 2 tasks to do with math, science, social studies, reading, language arts, which is basically writing. They're not intended to replicate the regular school day whatsoever. Our job as the teacher, once we've assigned it and the kids have turned everything in, is we're supposed to, you know, provide that feedback to the students, and we're also keeping a log of the student participation. So each week I have a data sheet that has all of the activities that the kiddos are doing, and when they've turned it in, I check it off so that I know that they are participating in the activities. Their level of participation in this distance learning may impact their academic progress, but as we get more information from the TEA, those guidelines are subject to change, but we're not too sure yet. But really the biggest thing is that we want to make sure that they are participating in the assignments, because it could impact their grade. So just make sure that you're kind of helping me out to keep track of like everything that the kids are doing and reminding them, you know, if they haven't turned in something, to kind of just be their extra eye and help them out, because this is something very new for them too. If you guys have any questions about Google Classroom, feel free to send me a message. I'm more than happy to help you guys, because I don't want the distance learning and any technical internet errors to cause any issues with your child's grade. I want to make sure that they get everything that they need to understand, and make the end of this year as successful as we can. Bye, guys.